Hello there. You might find what I'm about to tell you to be quite disturbing. You're probably wondering why there's nobody sitting there in that chair. My answer for that is you have just been exposed to something that's, let's just say, not quite from Earth. Can you recall the first time you've encountered the signal? If you don't remember the first time you've encountered the signal, Tom Richardson will then come in and do a movie review for you to help remind you of the signal.
So hey guys, hope you liked my half-attempted voice of Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne does appear in the this new sci-fi indie film called The Signal. I was lucky to have one of the theaters in my area show this film. Not a lot of theaters. I know this is a limited release film. I'm assuming not a lot of theaters around the U.S. are probably going to show this. But the town I was living in luckily had at least one theater that was showing it, and so I finally got around to seeing it. So in The Signal, you guys, basically in this film, it centers around two computer hackers. They're both close friends. They both seem to go to the same school, from what the film was able to tell us. And one of them tags their girlfriend along for this road trip. They're trying to find a hacker that's hacked into both their school system computers and their personal computers. It's been going on for a while. They really want to meet this guy personally just to see what he's like. They are always talking to him. They know a lot about him. There are all these messages that they're sending each other on the computer and things like that. So they want to go on this road trip. It's in the middle of the summer, right before all the school and college stuff starts up again. And so these three people decide to drive down to the Nevada desert where apparently this guy lives, and meet him face to face, see what he's like, see if he's anything like what these instant messages and computer messages are like over all this time. And they want to go from there. So they get down there, and as always, I'll try to keep this as spoiler free as I can. They get down there, and they're in this house. Something happens in it that you'll see when you watch the film. And so they each of these people awaken in a different room in this facility of some kind, where apparently they've been exposed to something of an alien race that wasn't from Earth, and they are being experimented on, since the government themselves don't know a lot exactly as to what exactly happened to them when they were visiting this hacker in this person's house. And since they don't know a lot about them, they kind of are giving these three people a lot of space, but they want to experiment on them at the same time. So they're trying to figure out what exactly this is that they've been exposed to from this house, and to kind of see what they're dealing with. And if they do escape the facility, it's also their responsibility to make sure that these highly radiated people apparently don't go out and do something that could be potentially harmful to the human race. So I really enjoyed The Signal, you guys. It does take on a lot. It's definitely a film that definitely has like a good 4 or 5 big solid ideas to take on in it. And obviously, when you see the film, you'll know exactly just how big all these ideas are that the film covers. And I really enjoyed it. I really hope that much more theaters around the U.S. actually do show this film. I don't even know how long the theater that I saw this film in is going to show this film. I really enjoyed it a lot, and I really think a lot of people who are big into the science fiction genre are really going to enjoy this too. If you like the film District 9, it's kind of in that same vibe of that, so I think if you like that film, you'll really enjoy this film as well. So in the segment, the guys, for my positives and negatives, I think it's a well shot film with some great visuals, very stylistically well made. This William Eubank guy who directed the movie, he clearly has had some type of visual arts background, or I think he's worked as a cameraman before, from what I saw online. He clearly knows how to shoot a film. He knows how to make great visuals for a film. So if you're looking for both those aspects of a great film production, The Signal does a terrific job at that. I also think the film has an interesting approach on secret government organizations, kind of how when it's something brand new that they've never taken on before, they're kind of a little bit more open about it, but they're also very strict about it. Like they have their boundaries, but they also have their open endedness to things. And, it really kind of shows just how strict and how harsh they can be on some of these things, but specifically with, like alien races that they don't know a lot about and things like that. So I think the film had a very interesting approach on that kind of stuff. The three kids that, the film centered around, these two computer hackers and the girlfriend, all did a terrific job. Specifically, the girlfriend. I really think she's going to give us a lot of really good acting performances here in the future. I looked her up online. I guess she's also been in the Bates Motel TV show, which I haven't really been watching. But if she's anything as good as she was in The Signal, I'm sure she's a terrific actress. And once again, I'm sure we're going to see her in a lot of more stuff here in the near future. I also looked up another one of these kids online. One of them was in Super 8, I guess. He was the guy that worked at the gas station that the alien attacked, so he clearly has had some experience with science fiction, so he was a great choice for this movie. And also Lawrence Fishburne's performance in this was very good. I liked how this is also a very dark and cold role for him. It's one of the darker roles he's taken on, that has taken on quite a bit. His performance was just very, very good, very, very cold. He had no problem doing something really brutal to get what he wanted and things like that. So, really enjoyed his performance in this very different role for him. This film was also interesting and engaging the entire time. I definitely never felt bored in this film. If you're looking for a film that's just interesting from start to end, always has something interesting to do and say throughout the entire runtime, you'll definitely will not be disappointed. It's a very interesting and engaging sci-fi film. For the negatives of this film, there are some major plot conveniences, specifically in the third act. A lot of them exist just to simply move the plot along. Some of them don't really make a lot of sense too. A lot of them exist just to simply move the plot along, and that's really too bad because this is a very interesting film. And even though it maintains that intrigue the entire time, I really would have liked to have seen a plot that was really fair with itself, really fair with its own rules. Because it's really too bad by around the final 20 to 30 minutes of this film, it kind of breaks its own rules. So it was kind of too bad to see that happen, but nonetheless, this was still a great film. Playing off that point, I thought the final, like the very last, let's say 20 minutes of the film were very, very sloppy. Would have liked to have seen a much cleaner, much more clear, precise ending to this film. Because the way it ended, it kind of ended when once again, it took on more than it could chew, I thought. And it just, the final 20 minutes to me were kind of, if there was anything that was a letdown in this film, it was probably that, just because it took on so much and it was kind of a little bit sloppy as a result. So, also, Lynn Shay is in this film. If you don't know who she is, if you've ever seen the film Insidious, or if you saw There's Something About Mary, she played Magda in that film. Um, yeah, Lynn Shay, I really enjoy her roles a lot. And I thought her role in this film was a little bit too goofy for its own good. I understood that, her character was kind of oblivious to what was going on in society, and, she had connection to the facility that these three kids were in. But I thought her performance was a little too goofy for its own good. And it kind of felt a little bit generic. It was definitely not a Lin Shaye quality role, I would say. Um, so even though it was great seeing her in this film, I would have liked to have seen her either take on this character differently or have taken on this character in such a way that didn't feel so generic and so goofy. Because the way I saw it was just not, I wasn't too impressed with it, to be honest. I also thought the film was a little bit inconsistent. It was a little bit inconsistent when it got to the facility portion of the film. It didn't really, because it's an open-ended facility, because they're dealing with something that they haven't dealt with before. There was a lot of parts about it where it's like, well, wait, that would be a major concern in a real facility. That would be a major concern. Why is that allowed? Why is that not allowed? And things like that. And I felt the facility itself needed to be more consistent with its own rules, because these kids got away with a lot of stuff while being in there, and I would say they almost had too much freedom. There was even points where, I won't go into too much spoiler detail, where these kids are trying to escape. These people just kind of blow them off. They kind of let them run around and things like that. It's like, why are they letting him running around like that? So it was a little bit inconsistent with its own rules, and I don't know. I think there could have been more establishment, because Lawrence Fishburne gave such a great performance in this film. I would have liked to have seen something that really would have transitioned over to the facility rules of the film in some way, shape, or form. So, but overall, guys, I give The Signal an 8.5 out of 10. I really think it's a very good film. I think a lot of people who are really big into the sci-fi genre are really looking into, interesting ways to, retell a good old story. I think The Signal is really going to do something special for you. So the Signal, 8.5 out of 10 for me. Very good film. If it's playing in your area, or if it's available at your Redbox at some point in the future, make sure to check it out.